Hello mga ka-Nanay! Hello everyone! Welcome back to Nanay Jane's English Lessons. For today's lesson, let's talk about dependent and independent clauses. In our previous lesson, we talked about the difference between a phrase and a clause. Let's review what a clause is. A clause is a group of words. It has a subject and a verb. It may or may not express a complete thought. Let us identify which of these groups of words are clauses. Number 1, a wonderful world. Number 2, when Mab sings her favorite song. Number 3, her parents left. Number 4, the most important part of the story. Number 5, are drinking milk. To find out if a group of words is a clause, the most important thing to check is if it has a subject and a verb. Let's try with number 1. A wonderful world. Does it have a subject? Yes, world. Does it have a verb? No. So, this is not a clause. Number 2. When Mav sings her favorite song. Does it have a subject? Yes, Mav is the subject. Does it have a verb? Yes, sings. So, number 2 is a clause. Number 3, her parents left. Does it have a subject? Yes, parents. Does it have a verb? Yes, left. So number 3 is a clause. Number 4, the most important part of the story. Does it have a subject? Yes, part. Does it have a verb? No. So this is not a clause. And number 5, are drinking milk. Does it have a subject? No. So, this is not a clause. It only has a verb, are drinking. From the exercise that we had, these two are the clauses that we identified. When Mav sings her favorite song. Her parents left. Let's check again what made them clauses. They are group of words. They have a subject and a verb. And they may or may not express a complete thought. The clause when Mav sings her favorite song is a clause that doesn't express a complete thought. When Mav sings her favorite song, what happened? It doesn't tell. So, it is incomplete. Therefore, this is a dependent clause. Her parents left, on the other hand, has a complete meaning. Who left? Her parents. What did her parents do? Left. This is a complete sentence, so it is an independent clause. Now, let's talk about dependent and independent clauses. An independent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. So as a dependent clause. It is also a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. An independent clause expresses a complete meaning. However, a dependent clause doesn't express a complete meaning. And an independent clause can stand on its own, while the dependent clause cannot stand on its own. Let's have these examples. She went to the hospital. This is an independent clause because it has a subject she and the verb went, and it expresses a complete thought. Who went to the hospital? She. What did she do? Went to the hospital. Because she wasn't feeling well is a dependent clause. Why? Because it has the subject she and the verb wasn't, but it does not express a complete meaning. Because she wasn't feeling well. What happened? It's incomplete. Mav was sad. Independent clause. When her playmates left. Dependent clause. You must work hard. Independent clause. If you want to succeed in life. Dependent clause. Take a look at the examples of dependent clauses. As you notice, all these clauses start with a conjunction, a subordinating conjunction, because, when, if. This makes this group of words dependent clause. They cannot stand on its own because of these subordinating conjunctions. And to make it complete, it needs another independent clause. For example, she went to the hospital because she wasn't feeling well. Mav was sad when her playmates left. You must work hard if you want to succeed in life. Take note. Two independent clauses may be joined together in one sentence using any of the coordinating conjunctions. What are coordinating conjunctions? They are very easy to remember. Just take note of this. Fanboys. Coordinating conjunctions are fanboys, meaning for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Fanboys. For example, she wants to play more, but she is already sleepy. Take note, this sentence has the coordinating conjunction but, and there are two independent clauses in this sentence. She wants to play more, and she is already sleepy. Another example, we are in the library, so we must talk softly. Again, it has a coordinating conjunction, so. And there are two independent clauses. We are in the library, and we must talk softly. Dependent clauses always start with a subordinating conjunction. Here are some examples of subordinating conjunctions. Unless, if, until, when, although, even though, whenever, as, because, so that, since, after, etc. For example, she did not go to school because she was sick. This sentence has an independent clause and a dependent clause. The independent clause is she did not go to school. This is a complete sentence. The dependent clause is because she was sick. Take note, a dependent clause always starts with a subordinating conjunction, and in this sentence, because is a subordinating conjunction. Second example, I will help you today since I am free. Again, this sentence has an independent clause and a dependent clause. I will help you today. This is an independent clause. Since I am free is a dependent clause because it starts with a subordinating conjunction, since. So here's a tip. If you need to identify the independent clause and the dependent clause in a sentence, first you have to find the conjunction. If it has any of the fanboys, then that means the sentence has two independent clauses. And if it has any of these subordinating conjunctions, then it has an independent clause and a dependent clause. Let's practice identifying clauses, whether they are independent or dependent clause. Again, independent and dependent clauses are both group of words that contain a subject and a verb. The only difference is that an independent clause expresses a complete meaning, while a dependent clause doesn't express a complete meaning. And take note, all dependent clauses start with a subordinating conjunction. Let's start. Number 1, when I see your face. Number 2, you are amazing. Number 3, if I didn't love you. Number 4, even though we ain't got money. And number 5, I like you. Okay, let's identify if these clauses are independent or dependent. Number 1, when I see your face. This clause starts with a subordinating conjunction when, and it doesn't express a complete meaning. When I see your face, so what? So this is a dependent clause. You are amazing. This doesn't contain any conjunction, but it has a subject and a verb. And this is a complete sentence. So number 2 is an independent clause. Number 3, if I didn't love you. This clause starts with a subordinating conjunction if, and it doesn't express a complete meaning. If I didn't love you, what now? So this is a dependent clause. Number 4, even though we ain't got money. This clause again starts with a subordinating conjunction even though, and it doesn't express a complete meaning. Even though we ain't got money. Now what? So it's incomplete. Therefore, number 4 is a dependent clause. And number 5, I like you. This clause doesn't contain any conjunction, but it has a subject I and a verb like. And it expresses a complete meaning. I like you. If I say I like you, you know what I mean. So this is an independent clause. This time, let's practice more. Underline the independent clause and circle the dependent clause. You may use a scratch paper or you may write your answers in the comment section of this video. Let's begin. I switched on the light because it was dark. This sentence has an independent clause and a dependent clause. I switched on the light is the independent clause, and because it was dark is the dependent clause. Number 2. I feel tired, but I need to work today. This sentence has two independent clauses. I feel tired is the first independent clause, and I need to work today is the second independent clause. These two independent clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction but to form one sentence. Third sentence, Brian and Jane met each other at school. This sentence has only one independent clause. Brian and Jane met each other at school is an independent clause. You might wonder, there is a coordinating conjunction in this sentence which is and. And we know that independent clauses may be combined using any of the fanboys. But take note, Brian and Jane are two names and they are not sentences. So Brian and Jane is just a phrase. Number 4, Mav always prays before she goes to sleep. This sentence has an independent clause and a dependent clause. Mav always prays is the independent clause, and before she goes to sleep is the dependent clause. Last number, they help each other when they have problems. This sentence has again an independent clause and a dependent clause. They help each other is the independent clause. When they have problems is the dependent clause. That's it for now. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end of this video. And if you have any questions about dependent and independent clauses or any related questions, please feel free to comment and I will try my best to answer your questions. See you in our next English lesson. Thank you. Goodbye.